Hi, I'm Rob the art teacher with another Tips for Teachers video. Today I want to share with you 3 simple criteria for assessing creative expression and art achievements in the primary school art room. I developed these criteria to address the challenge of how to assess art development and the processes of art learning, rather than assessing individual artworks. I think to discuss why I would advise against grading individual artworks might require a separate video. But for now, it's enough to say I wanted assessment tools for the gradual, year-long development of young artists in an environment where they have room to experiment, to take risks, maybe have failures, and to feel that they are rewarded for their engagement in the learning process. So you will find these 3 criteria are easy for students to understand. They feel natural and logical to children. They use memorable keywords. They are easy for teachers to use day by day because they integrate well with each lesson's learning goals and with reflection time at the end of the lesson. They are suited to both formative and summative assessments, and they can be used with different types of reporting, including written achievement descriptors, numerical grading, and other marking systems. Finally, they are in themselves a learning guide for students and teachers alike. Here they are. Number 1, creativity and self-expression. Questions for the student. Are you expressing your imagination, ideas, feelings, impressions, experiences? For teachers, the creativity and self-expression criteria allows us to acknowledge the individuality of each student and to reward students as they grow their self-expression through the learning activities. Number 2, new and improved skills. With this criterion, the student can ask themselves, am I trying new methods, skills, materials? And am I consciously improving what I can already do through practice and repetition? For teachers, this criterion allows us to acknowledge the degree to which each student is working to improve the skills and techniques they already have, and the extent to which they embrace new materials and methods. Number 3, inspiration. Questions for the student. Are you looking at new things and ideas and curious to understand them? Are you willing to try these new ways of working and these new ideas? Your creativity is like a plant. It needs watering, and it will grow by being exposed to new art experiences, new artist role models, and new examples. And even though these new things will sometimes appear strange, being curious about unfamiliar things helps expand the imagination. Are you open to this? And for teachers, this criterion allows us to acknowledge openness and curiosity as learning goals. The criterion allows us to see and reward students for their openness to new ideas, their openness to unfamiliar art forms, novel art methods, and inspirational artists. I said at the outset that I had 3 assessment criteria. Well, let's make that 3 plus 1, because I know some schools also ask us to grade student behaviour or effort. And in practice, oftentimes the assessment of these aspects is not strictly linked to the curriculum and to explicit learning goals. Consequently, I've wondered if there is a way of turning this problem on its head so that we retain our focus on genuine learning goals and outcomes. I think I have devised a suitable criterion. It is entirely answerable to the curriculum as a learning tool, and it also passes the child logic test. See what you think. Number 4, productivity and involvement. Questions for students. How are you using your time and energy to learn as much as possible? when in the art classroom and on art trips. The student-centered logic to this is that mostly art is something you learn by doing. The more time you commit and the more you make, the more likely it is that you will improve your skills and gain greater satisfaction from seeing your creative results. So for teachers, this criterion allows us to acknowledge the growing commitment of students to their own learning and development. This doesn't happen overnight, so this criterion, like the others, is interested in the positive, progressive processes of self-development in children. It provides an opportunity to acknowledge their thoughtfulness, growing self-awareness, and efforts to become independent learners. Please let me know what you think of these 3+1 criteria: creativity and self-expression, new and improved skills, inspiration, productivity and involvement. What criteria have you developed or inherited that you find useful? And are there other teaching topics you would like me to share? In a later video, I plan to discuss how I set learning goals at the start of each lesson, how I weave these 3 assessment criteria through the goals, and how I bookend the learning goals with a session of student reflection at the end of each lesson.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click like and share it. If you want to see more short videos with art tips, art projects and lesson ideas, please subscribe to my channel, Rob the Art Teacher.